Imagine it's 2027. You walk into your kitchen, you press your glass against the refrigerator door, and nothing.
Just completely dead.
Yeah, no ice. And not because the fridge is broken or, the water line is frozen. It's because the credit card you have on file expired and you missed your $29.95 annual ice subscription.
It is wild to even think about.
Right. Or, okay, try this one. You're driving down a huge 6-lane highway in a rental car. You slouch down in your seat just to, get comfortable.
Like anyone does.
Exactly. And suddenly the gas pedal just goes dead. The car physically stops accelerating right in the middle of traffic, all because an onboard camera lost sight of your pupils and decided you were an unacceptable risk.
I mean, it sounds like a literal dystopian screenplay.
Yeah.
But these are the actual immediate realities being presented in the material we're unpacking today. We're looking at what you could call the micro-monetization of the physical world.
Welcome to today's deep dive. We are zeroing in on a single massive source today. It's a viral, incredibly detailed presentation from a channel called A Homestead Journey.
And it is intense.
Very. This creator is painting a very stark picture of a rapidly approaching technological dystopia right here in America. And the thing is, it is resonating. Millions of people are sharing it, commenting, and feeling a profound sense of validation.
So our mission today is to pull all of this apart. We're going to explore the hardware, the software, and the economics behind these claims. Everything from AI-controlled vehicles to residential data centers.
Because we want to understand why this specific narrative of exhaustion and ambient surveillance is striking such a chord with you guys right now.
But before we go any further, we really need to establish a baseline for this discussion. Consider this our impartiality clause.
Yes, very important.
The source material we are examining today wades pretty heavily into politically charged themes. There are conspiracy theories, and it harbors very intense anti-government and anti-corporate sentiments.
Right. So we need to make it absolutely clear to you, listening right now, that we are not taking a side here.
Not at all.
We aren't endorsing these political viewpoints, and we aren't, verifying the factual accuracy of the more extreme claims like the existence of deliberate government kill switches in your engine block.
Exactly. We are acting entirely as your guides today, just to convey, dissect, and analyze the mechanics of the ideas presented in this original material.
Because honestly, whether you think this creator is completely paranoid or some modern-day prophet, the specific details they bring up are bizarre enough to make you stop in your tracks.
Oh, absolutely.
But before we even touch the tech, before we get into how a refrigerator digitally locks you out of your own ice, we have to look at the psychological landscape first.
Right, because the technology doesn't really matter if we don't understand the mindset of the people who have to live with it.
The video actually starts by diagnosing this, collective existential crisis. It zeroes in on the idea that even the quote-unquote stable people are just shutting down.
And the demographic framing here is crucial. The narrative specifically focuses on millennials, describing what the source calls the Millennial 180.
The 180, yeah.
To understand the psychology, you have to look at the trajectory of that specific generation. I mean, they came of age during an era of profound techno-optimism.
The early 2000s.
Right. Back then, the promise of technology was absolute convenience and ownership. You bought an iPod, you owned the MP3s on it, the jump from dial-up to broadband, flip phones to early smartphones. Every new thing genuinely reduced friction in daily life.
It was the era of there's an app for everything. It genuinely felt like magic at the time.
It did. But the narrative presented here is that this promise totally shattered. That early 2000s tech evolved into an inescapable 7-inch supercomputer in your pocket that just demands 24/7 attention.
Yeah, the source describes a generation that grew up obsessed with the digital frontier who now just desperately want to trade it all in.
Right, they want to go be a park ranger out west with a dumb phone.
Exactly. And the phrase the material uses for this is incredibly evocative. They talk about having 507 open tabs in the brain.
It's such a brilliant articulation of cognitive overload. It isn't a physical tiredness that, good night's sleep can fix. It's like a systemic RAM failure.
I was thinking about this, and think about your own smartphone for a second. When the screen is totally black sitting on your desk, it looks like it's resting.
Right, it looks off.
But if you check the battery health, it's actively draining. Why? Because you have background app refresh turned on. You have 30 different apps pinging your GPS location, downloading software patches, refreshing data feeds.
It's constantly working.
Yeah, the screen is off, but the internal processor is maxed out. And that is exactly how this source describes the modern American psyche. We are at 100% CPU usage, just processing ambient modern dread.
Leaving no battery life for actual living.
None at all. And what's crazy is the sociological evidence the source provides for this. It's this pervasive, almost chilling apathy.
When the brain is operating at total capacity just to manage daily economic survival, it just has zero bandwidth for external stimuli.
Even monumental stuff.
Exactly. The examples in the footage are incredibly bleak. The creator mentions a moment online where someone brings up the recent congressional hearings on UAPs.
Oh, the alien hearings, yeah.
Right, essentially saying, hey, the news basically announced aliens are here. And the collective response wasn't wonder or terror or even curiosity.
It was collective shrug.
Literally nobody cared. Or they brought up a massive explosion threat in Garden Grove, California.
Oh yeah, people decided to just go to Disneyland anyway.
Just adopting this if we die mentality. It's wild.
It really is the textbook definition of habituation to crisis. When the baseline of daily life requires constant hypervigilance, worrying about inflation, algorithmic job insecurity, crazy housing costs, a bomb threat, or like an extraterrestrial revelation simply fails to register above the noise floor.
And the source also points out the complete lack of anticipation for cultural milestones, too.
Right, like the upcoming 250th anniversary of the United States, July 4th, Memorial Day. The video notes there's this heavy, wet blanket draped over all of it.
But let's dig into the actual mechanism of that exhaustion. Because these 507 open tabs aren't just abstract existential dread, they are tangible.
Very tangible and highly economic.
Yes. The source argues that everyday survival has been fundamentally gamified and micromonetized.
Okay, let's talk about the hardware subscriptions, because this blew my mind. The 2027 Ice Maker.
This is where we see the software industry's business model bleeding directly into physical manufacturing. For the last 2 decades, the tech world has run on software as a service.
Right.
You don't buy Microsoft Word on a CD-ROM anymore. You pay a monthly fee to access it from the cloud. But what the source is highlighting is the aggressive pivot to hardware as a service.
But, okay, let's unpack how that actually works mechanically. I buy a physical metal box, right? I plug it into my physical wall, and I connect it to my physical water line. How does the manufacturer physically stop the ice from forming if I refuse to pay the $29.95?
It's done through basic IoT Internet of Things architecture. Modern appliances are equipped with Wi-Fi chips and digital relays. So when you buy the fridge, the internal computer has a digital token valid for 12 months.
Okay.
Every time you press the lever for ice, the software checks that token. Once the year is up, the appliance pings the manufacturer's server.
And if it says you didn't pay?
If your account shows unpaid, the server sends the command back to your fridge. The software then simply refuses to send the electrical signal to the waterline solenoid valve.
Wow.
Yeah, the physical components work perfectly. The water is there. The freezing unit is there. But the digital gateway remains closed.
So you are literally held hostage by a line of code inside a machine you supposedly own.
Exactly.
And the video points out this isn't just stopping at kitchen appliances, it's moving to basic shelter.
That part was terrifying.
The creator documents their experience apartment hunting in Los Angeles. They find this completely bare bones one-bedroom unit, no utilities included, parking is extra, it requires a massive credit score, and the base rent is $2,500 a month.
Which is already staggering.
Right. But here is the detail that just got me. To actually unlock the door to the unit you are renting, you have to subscribe to a monthly membership for the electronic key fob.
An additional subscription.
Just to open your door.
The architecture of that is even more insidious than the refrigerator, to be honest. Think about a traditional brass key. It represents unmitigated analog access. Once it's in your hand, you control the physics of the deadbolt.
Right. It just turns.
But a digital fob relies on RFID or NFC technology, communicating with a centralized database. When you tap that fob, the door reader queries a server and asks, is this user's subscription active?
So it has to check in every time.
Yes.
Yep.
So if there's an AWS server outage or if your credit card gets flagged for fraud and the recurring payment fails, that database returns a false response.
Meaning you are functionally locked out of your own home, standing in the hallway, holding your groceries, because of a software billing error.
Exactly.
It really begs the question, when exactly did a physical door key become a software product? Are property management companies doing this simply because the Wi-Fi architecture now makes it so easy? Or is this, as the source heavily implies, a deliberate move toward total behavioral control?
Well, from a purely economic standpoint, the motivation is pretty predictable. Recurrent revenue models are highly prized by investors.
Yeah, why charge once when you can charge forever?
Right. Why collect rent once when you can unbundle the property? You collect rent on the shelter, a subscription on the access, and a microtransaction on the amenities.
It's nickel and diming existence.
But the source views this through a much darker lens. They tie this micromonetization directly to the push for a cashless society.
Right, the total control aspect.
The argument they present is that when physical currency is eliminated, and every single interaction from opening your door to buying groceries is mediated by a digital conditional access gateway, dissenting behavior can be punished instantly.
Just by freezing the account.
Exactly.
It's the ultimate friction point. The cost of simply existing is skyrocketing, and the things you do manage to afford require continuous permission just to use them.
And the footage provides a really devastating contrast regarding inflation, too.
Oh, the movie theater story. Yes. The creator talks about going to the movies in the late 80s or early 90s, taking 10 or 11 family members. One person pulls out a single $50 bill, and that covers tickets, drinks, and popcorn for 11 people, with change coming back.
A very vivid memory of economic elasticity.
Fast forward to today in the video. The creator takes their 15-year-old daughter to a 2:30 p.m. matinee, 2 daytime tickets, 2 small popcorns, 2 small drinks. The total is $54.86 for 2 people.
And while the cost of living is inflating like this, the source points out that the very means of earning a living are being actively automated away.
By the exact same companies charging the subscriptions.
Yes. The material highlights a specific industrial example that completely subverts the standard narrative around artificial intelligence.
Because we always heard AI would come for the writers and coders first, right?
Right. For years, the prevailing wisdom was that AI would automate white-collar, screen-based jobs first. Data entry, copywriting. But the source points to Heidelberg Building Materials at a cement quarry in Union Bridge, Maryland.
Replacing heavy machinery operators.
They deployed 30 fully autonomous AI-controlled dump trucks to navigate the quarry, load, and unload.
That is massive machinery.
Huge!
Yeah.
And the engineering behind it is staggering. Navigating a dynamic, unstructured environment like a dusty cement quarry requires an intense sensor fusion.
Centrifuge.
Yeah, they have to combine LiDAR, which uses pulsed laser light to measure distances, with machine vision algorithms. The system has to distinguish between a pile of gravel and a human worker in, like, zero visibility dust clouds.
The technical achievement is incredible, honestly. But the human cost is exactly what the video zeroes in on.
Right.
Because these aren't just abstract jobs. These were CDL drivers. These were roles making $70,000 to $80,000 a year with full benefits packages. People supporting families.
And they were replaced by machines that, as the creator bitterly points out, never ask for a lunch break.
The macroeconomic critique the source makes here is so vital, I think. When a quarry employs 30 humans, that payroll circulates locally, right?
Exactly. Those drivers buy groceries, they pay their mortgages, they go to the local diner.
But when you automate those jobs, the capital saved doesn't circulate in Union Bridge, Maryland anymore.
No, it is aggregated and sent straight upward to the boardroom and the shareholders of the robotics companies.
So the local economy is completely hollowed out, leaving the remaining population fighting over fewer resources while facing, higher subscription costs for their basic needs.
It's a vicious cycle.
So you have a population squeezed by inflation, locked into conditional access for their homes, and watching solid middle-class labor get outsourced to sensor fusion algorithms.
And you might think, well, I'll just avoid the smart fridge. I'll find an older apartment with a metal key.
Right. Opt out.
But the narrative takes a massive turn when it argues that very soon you will have absolutely no choice but to participate in this ecosystem, specifically inside your vehicle.
Which brings us to the automotive industry and what the source dramatically labels the Eye of Sauron.
The camera in the dashboard?
Yeah. The footage literally shows a person holding up a specialized lens to their car's dashboard. To the naked eye, it just looks like a smooth black piece of plastic right above the steering column.
You'd never notice it.
Never. But through this lens, you suddenly see 2 bright infrared red dots actively flashing and tracking the driver's face. Invisible red eyes staring at you while you drive. And the claim is that starting in 2027, every new car sold in America will mandate this technology.
Let's break down the actual engineering of that infrared tracking, because it's important.
Hmm.
Why use invisible infrared instead of a standard camera?
Right. Why not just a normal webcam?
Because a standard optical camera fails in low light, at night, or if the driver's wearing heavy sunglasses. Infrared emitters bounce invisible light off the cornea and the retina.
Oh, wow.
The system's algorithms then calculate the vector of that reflection to determine exactly where your pupils are pointing in real time, regardless of the ambient lighting in the cabin.
So it always knows what you're looking at. The source cites the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, NHTSA, and their mandate for, quote-unquote, advanced impaired driving prevention technology.
And the stated legislative goal is noble, right? Passively monitor the driver to eliminate drunk driving and prevent accidents caused by falling asleep at the wheel.
Sounds great on paper, but the video highlights the terrifying gap between legislative intent and real-world software implementation.
This is where we encounter the concept of algorithmic edge cases.
What does that mean in this context?
An edge case is a scenario that occurs at the extreme operating parameters of a system. Basically, a situation the software developers didn't adequately train the AI to handle.
And the video gives a harrowing example of exactly that, the European rental car incident.
Yeah, that story was intense.
The creator is driving a brand new 2026 model on a massive 6-lane highway going at speed, and the driver happens to be short in stature. After a while, they slouch down in their seat to get comfortable.
Just shifting their weight.
Exactly, and suddenly alarms start blaring. The digital dashboard lights up with a prompt in English that says, "Sit up straight, we can't find your eyes." And then the car literally cuts the throttle. The gas pedal goes completely dead in the middle of highway traffic.
Because the driver slouched, their face dropped below the optimal viewing angle of the infrared camera. The software, lacking the nuance to differentiate between a short person adjusting their posture and an incapacitated driver, just defaults to its safety protocol.
It just shuts it down.
Well, it interfaces with the car's drive-by-wire system. Modern gas pedals aren't mechanically linked to the engine by a physical cable anymore. They are digital sensors.
Right, it's not a mechanical pull.
Exactly. The computer simply intercepted the signal from the pedal and ignored it, executing a controlled deceleration.
The driver emphasizes that their foot was actively pressing down on the accelerator. If you fall asleep, your muscles relax, right? Your foot lifts off the pedal.
Any human passenger could see the driver was awake and alert.
But the sensor fusion failed. The algorithm only cared about the visual metric of the pupils. It wasn't until the driver physically hauled themselves bolt upright that the camera reacquired their eyes and magically returned power to the wheels.
And the immediate aftermath of that near miss is perhaps the most revealing part of the whole anecdote.
Yes. After nearly causing a massive pileup, the dashboard screen pops up with a friendly little prompt. May I send you these results to a third party?
It perfectly encapsulates the dual-use nature of modern technology. The very same sensor array engineered to supposedly save your life is simultaneously functioning as a telemetry collection device.
But the video takes this from clunky software design straight into absolute dystopia. They argue this isn't just about safety at all. They claim these vehicles will be actively listening to your conversations.
Right, using the internal mics.
If the internal microphone picks up speech the AI deems controversial, the system will flag the audio, alert local law enforcement, and dispatch police to your location.
Furthermore, the video claims that the telemetry data, every time you brake hard, every corner you take slightly too fast, is being beamed directly to insurance companies to instantly hike your premiums.
We have to look at the structural economics of the automotive industry to understand where this fear comes from, don't we?
We do. The material points out the corporate consolidation at play here. It cites major asset management firms like Vanguard, BlackRock, and State
The
Street.
huge players.
Right, who hold significant stakes across auto manufacturers, the tech companies providing the cloud infrastructure, and the insurance companies underwriting the policies.
So the fear is this vertical integration of surveillance. The same overarching financial entity owns the camera that watches you, the server that processes your data, and the insurance policy that penalizes you.
It's all closed loop.
The creator even posits this crazy theory about the recent push for higher ethanol blends in public fuel supplies.
The ethanol theory, yeah.
They argue this is a deliberate effort to physically destroy the engines of older analog cars. Like if your 1998 Honda Civic's engine corrodes from the inside out because of the fuel, you are forced into the junkyard. And eventually, you're forced to buy a new 2027 surveillance vehicle.
It's a theory of manufactured obsolescence, designed to accelerate the adoption rate of the new monitored fleet. And the source notes that the traditional American workaround, hot rodding, tinkering, modifying your own machine, is being digitally locked down.
Right. They say you can't just, quote unquote, jailbreak these new cars.
Now,
If you try to pull the fuse on the internal camera or alter the computer's code to bypass the tracking, the system recognizes the hardware mismatch.
it instantly triggers a tampering alert.
It sends it to the cloud, instantly voids your insurance, and potentially bricks the car entirely, just refusing to start at all.
Which brings up a really fascinating debate about the nature of hardware. The source uses the term government kill switch repeatedly.
Repeatedly, yes.
When the legislation mandates that the vehicle must be able to limit its own operation based on sensor data, the creator interprets that capability as a malicious backdoor.
So let me push back on the source's conclusion here. Let's look at the actual mechanics. If a car has a camera that can misinterpret a slouch as a stroke, and software that can cut the throttle, does it even matter if the intent was safety?
That's a great question.
Like, is the creator misinterpreting poorly beta-tested safety tech as a malicious government plot? Or does the mere existence of a drive-by-wire system connected to an internet-enabled camera make it a Trojan horse, regardless of who wrote the original code?
That is the defining tension of the surveillance age right there. Technologists will argue vehemently that capability does not equal intent. A camera is just a sensor.
It's just a piece of glass.
Right. But sociologists and privacy advocates argue that infrastructure dictates destiny.
Infrastructure dictates destiny. I like that.
If you build the architecture for total surveillance and remote control, history suggests it will inevitably be utilized by whatever power structure eventually gains access to it.
And the creator firmly believes the latter. They see this as a funnel pushing the population toward a state where freedom of movement is entirely conditional on behavioral compliance.
And the most suffocating part of this narrative is that opting out of the car market doesn't even save you.
No, it doesn't. You don't have to buy the 2027 vehicle to be tracked. You just have to walk out your front door. The surveillance simply moves from the dashboard to the telephone pole. Let's talk about the invisible panopticon.
The video shifts focus from the private sphere of the car to the public sphere of the street, specifically highlighting the proliferation of flock safety cameras.
Yes, the creator films a drive through their own town, and keep in mind, they live in a rural county. This isn't downtown Manhattan.
Far from it.
Yet, on a short, routine drive just to drop their kid off at school, they count 8 flock cameras, they pass 3 gas stations, 2 stoplights, and 8 surveillance nodes. They are literally passing more cameras than actual brick-and-mortar businesses.
For context, flock cameras are incredibly discreet by design. They are small, black, rectangular units, usually mounted on a pole with a small solar panel angled upward.
They blend right in.
They blend into the urban and suburban clutter seamlessly. You've likely driven past dozens of them without your brain registering them as anything more than utility infrastructure.
The footage actually shows one station near a park in Arizona, and the creator zooms in on the complex array of antennas and cellular uplinks on the back of the solar panel. They film another one positioned directly at the entrance and exit of a standard Home Depot.
Which is strange.
And they ask the fundamental question: why does the government need a dedicated camera reading the license plate of every single person buying plywood on a Tuesday?
The municipalities and the company market these devices heavily as crime deterrence and post-incident investigation tools. But we really need to explain the mechanics of ALPR, automatic license plate recognition.
Okay, let's break it down.
These aren't just video cameras recording a raw feed that some detective scrubs through later.
Right, they are actively processing the environment as it happens.
Exactly. The camera captures an image, and an onboard processor runs optical character recognition on the license plate in real time. But it goes far beyond just the plate.
So it's not just plates?
No,
Yeah.
it's actually looking at the entire vehicle. The machine learning algorithms classify the make, model, and color. They are trained to identify specific aftermarket modifications, roof racks, bumper sticker.
Rumber stickers.
Yes. And even unique physical damage, like a dent on the rear quarter panel.
Wow.
All of this metadata is hashed, stamped with an exact time and GPS coordinate, and uploaded via cellular network to a centralized, searchable cloud database.
And the source claims this database isn't siloed either. It is shared across jurisdictions, accessible by thousands of police departments and federal agencies nationwide.
The video argues this is not a SASE tool, it is mass ambient surveillance.
The traditional legal argument has always been that you have no expectation of privacy on a public road, right? Like, if you are outside, anyone can look at you.
But the creator presents a very sharp counter-argument to that legal standard. Being casually observed by a human being in public is a fundamentally different experience than having your exact movements permanently logged, categorized, and stored in a searchable database by an automated network.
They point out that if a single human being followed you from your house to the school to the Home Depot, writing down the exact time you arrived and left, we would call the police and report them for stalking.
Absolutely.
So why does the behavior suddenly become legally acceptable and socially tolerated when a corporation automates the stalking via solar-paneled cameras?
It's a profound point. And the sensory capabilities of this network are expanding too. The source brings up a highly controversial update to these systems involving audio detection.
The Raven system. This is where the hair on my arms genuinely stood up.
Flock has deployed audio sensors, marketed primarily as acoustic gunshot detection systems. Microphones placed in public spaces continuously buffer audio, using machine learning to identify the acoustic signature of a gunshot, triangulate the source, and automatically dispatch law enforcement without a human ever dialing 911.
Which, as the video quickly points out, is already a deeply flawed premise. The creator cites a documented incident in Chicago where an acoustic detection system misclassified the sound of fireworks as a firearm discharge.
Right, a critical error.
The algorithm dispatched the police, expecting an active shooter situation. The resulting tension and confusion led to a child being shot at by the responding officers. The machine learning model misread the acoustic waveform, and the real-world consequence was nearly lethal.
But the source claims the update to this audio technology goes far beyond detecting explosions. They state these microphones are being upgraded to listen for human distress.
Just listen to that phrase, human distress. How does an algorithm define distress? We are talking about microphones hanging on telephone poles, recording ambient public audio, and passing it through a neural network that analyzes pitch, volume, and cadence to determine if a human voice sounds sufficiently emotional to warrant police intervention.
The legal and civil liberties implications of an AI judging your emotional state in public and sending armed officers in response are staggering.
And the source seamlessly connects this public audio surveillance to corporate surveillance, demonstrating how pervasive this emotion tracking concept has become. They bring up a seemingly mundane example, calling Walmart customer service.
Right. Every time you call a corporate number, you hear the exact same recorded prompt. This call may be recorded for quality or other business purposes.
We completely tune it out. We don't even hear it anymore.
But the creator actually dug into the fine print of what other business purposes legally entails in the age of AI. And it is a dystopian laundry list.
What's on it?
Well, it includes harvesting voice samples to train voice cloning datasets. But more pertinently, it includes real-time sentiment analysis and behavioral profiling.
Let's unpack the mechanics of that, because it's not just a manager randomly listening in to see if the representative was polite to you.
No, not at all. It is a natural language processing model analyzing the raw audio of your voice. The software measures vocal microtremors, frequency shifts, and speech speed.
It's analyzing your actual vocal cords.
Yes. It cross-references these biometric indicators against psychological profiles to determine exactly how stressed, angry, or susceptible you are in that exact moment.
So here's where we hit the ethical friction point of the entire deep dive. If a massive retail corporation is using biometric AI to read the microscopic involuntary stress tremors in your voice just to figure out how to route your call, or worse, to build a psychological profile of how you react under pressure to better sell you things later, at what point does marketing cross the line into psychological surveillance?
The creator's overarching thesis is that none of this infrastructure, the license plate readers, the distress microphones, the vocal sentiment algorithms, none of it is actually deployed for safety or quality assurance.
It is entirely about control and monetization.
Right. They make a profound sociological point regarding the cameras in cities. They argue that if municipalities truly wanted to reduce crime, they would invest in the root causes. They would ensure living wages and housing markets that don't force people to live paycheck to paycheck.
The exact quote they use is, they would rather monitor poverty than end it.
It's a brutal assessment of civic priorities.
And the video points out that public pushback against this monitoring is being actively suppressed. They highlight a specific political battle in Louisville, Kentucky.
Louisville Metro has aggressively adopted this technology, deploying over 200 city-owned cameras while granting police access to hundreds more privately owned cameras from businesses and HOAs.
So a massive network.
The total network exceeds 600 nodes.
But when citizens and the Metro Council demanded a map, just a simple public disclosure of exactly where these public surveillance devices were located, the proposal was voted down. the authorities flatly refuse to disclose the locations.
And the standard authoritarian defense of surveillance is always, if you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear.
And the creator plays the ultimate Uno reverse card on that. They fire back. If the citizens aren't doing anything wrong, why do the police care if we know where the cameras are? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they hiding the cameras?
It's a fair question.
The video even claims that the CEO of the camera company compared activists who map camera locations to terrorists and Antifa.
It's a classic escalation tactic. You erode transparency by labeling any demand for civil liberties as a threat to public safety.
So if we take a massive step back and look at the whole board the sources laid out, we have 30-ton autonomous trucks replacing human labor. We have smart cars tracking pupil movements and intercepting throttle controls. We have public microphones listening for distress, and corporate servers analyzing our vocal tremors.
It is an absolute avalanche of data. Every second of every day, petabytes of telemetry, audio, and video are being generated.
Precisely. And this is where the physical reality of the internet collides with the physical reality of the housing market.
Because data requires physical space. The cloud isn't just, floating in the sky. It exists inside massive, power-hungry warehouses full of silicon and cooling fans.
And the tech industry is fundamentally running out of space and electricity to process this avalanche.
Which brings this entire technological web directly, literally, into the listener's living room.
The final piece of the puzzle presented in the video is what they call the Trojan horse in the suburbs' residential data centers.
The source quotes industry reports detailing a new infrastructure partnership between several massive entities. A startup called Span, which manufactures smart electrical home panels.
Okay.
The GPU giant NVIDIA, whose chips power the AI revolution. And PY Group, a major national home builder.
The logistical problem these companies face is that building a traditional 100-megawatt data center is becoming nearly impossible.
Communities are fighting back.
Nobody wants a monolithic server farm built in their town, sucking up millions of gallons of local water for cooling and straining the aging electrical grid to the point of rolling blackouts. So the industry pivot is to utilize fractional data centers, often called edge computing nodes.
Instead of building one massive warehouse, they take a mini data center, a server rack about the size of a large suitcase, and bolt it directly to the side of a residential home.
The Span smart panels are designed to dynamically monitor the local neighborhood's electrical grid, finding pockets of unused capacity.
Let's explain the architecture of this, because how does thousands of separate houses equal a data center?
It's decentralized computing. Thousands of these residential nodes are networked together via high-speed internet. They share the processing load.
Span claims they can install 8,000 of these home units 6 times faster and at 5 times lower cost than navigating the zoning laws, community protests, and land acquisition required to build one centralized facility.
It is a brilliant logistical bypass, you have to admit. It outsources the physical footprint and, crucially, the cooling requirements straight to the American suburb.
But why would any normal person agree to let a tech conglomerate bolt a buzzing, heat-generating server to the side of their house?
The video answers this by looping us right back to the very beginning of the deep dive.
The crippling cost of living.
Exactly. The leverage point is utility debt. The pitch to the homeowner is incredibly seductive. If you allow us to install this node, you pay a single flat fee of roughly $150 a month. In exchange, that fee covers all of your home's electricity, and it includes high-speed Wi-Fi.
The irony is so thick you could cut it with a knife. The massive tech companies building the AI algorithms that require so much power they are driving up global electricity prices are now knocking on your door, offering to save you from those high electric bills.
Provided you let them use your physical property as the brain of their operation.
First, the economic conditions create the 507 open tabs of anxiety. Then, the architects of those conditions offer to close a few of those tabs if you simply cede a portion of your physical autonomy to the network.
But there is a massive twist at the end of this video. It completely recontextualized everything I had just watched.
Well, this part is wild.
After spending an hour meticulously detailing the surveillance state, the dystopian vehicle kill switches, the audio microphones, and the loss of physical ownership, the creator casually drops a bombshell.
They reveal that they actually have one of these residential data nodes bolted to their own house right now.
Yes. The very person warning us about the invisible panopticon is the first person in their rural area to sign up for the fractional data center. They're actively getting paid a monthly stipend to house it.
The psychological dissonance is fascinating to me. They understand the architecture of control better than almost anyone, yet they actively participate in its expansion.
They literally shrug at the camera and say, if you can't beat them, work with them, I guess.
Yeah.
They casually mention that this box humming on the side of their house is processing all the Google AI search results for a 100 square mile radius.
They even joke about the power they theoretically hold.
Laughing that they could intercept a neighbor's weather query and alter the output to say it's going to be 500 degrees outside. The exact same individual who is terrified of a camera tracking their posture in a rental car has willingly installed a physical piece of the global surveillance network into their own home simply because the paycheck was good.
It perfectly encapsulates the modern dilemma. When the ideological objection collides with the immediate financial incentive, convenience and economic relief almost always win.
The creator sees the trap, maps the exact dimensions of the trap for their audience, and then steps right into it. Because the rent is due, inflation is high, and the utility bill is suffocating.
So we need to pull all these disparate threads together. We've covered a massive amount of ground today.
We really have. We started by exploring the psychological toll of the Millennial 180, the transition from techno-optimism to having 507 background processes of dread maxing out our mental CPUs.
We moved into the micro-monetization of the physical world, detailing the mechanics of hardware as a service. From digital tokens controlling your refrigerator's ice maker to RFID fobs holding your apartment hostage over a missed subscription payment.
We analyzed the loss of the open road, the 2027 mandates that push infrared eye tracking and drive-by-wire algorithmic overrides into every new vehicle, creating an environment where a simple slouch can cut your engine at highway speeds.
We examined the architecture of the invisible panopticon. Automated license plate readers logging our daily routines, acoustic machine learning models listening for human distress in public squares, and corporate natural language processors mapping the emotional tremors in our voices.
And we ended with the ultimate compromise. The tech industry leveraging high utility costs to turn our literal homes into decentralized server farms.
The reason this deep dive matters, the reason this specific video resonated with millions of people, is because regardless of your political leanings, it highlights the defining friction point of the next decade.
We are in the middle of a massive silent collision between ultimate convenience and total physical autonomy. The technology we unpack today isn't just an upgrade to how we do things. It is a fundamental rewriting of the social contract regarding ownership, privacy, and freedom of movement.
And it isn't happening in some far-off sci-fi future. The infrastructure is being installed right now in rental cars in Europe, at the exit of your local Home Depot, and on the electrical panels of suburban homes.
Which leaves us with a final, lingering thought. I want you to think about your own drive to work tomorrow or the next time you call a customer service line.
Right.
We saw how the creator, despite their deep paranoia, compromised their beliefs for a lower utility bill. So ask yourself, if that startup knocked on your door tomorrow and offered you a flat $150 fee for unlimited electricity and internet in exchange for hosting a server, would you take it?
If your auto insurance provider offered to cut your monthly premium in half, but the catch was they needed real-time access to the infrared camera tracking your pupils, would you say yes?
At what specific exact dollar amount does your personal privacy turn from a fundamental human right into a tradable commodity?
It's a heavy question.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, keep an eye on the fine print, and we'll catch you next time.